So for those of you just tuning in, Conqueror leads this best of 3 series by 1 game. So Ezad, everything's on the line for him, not so much for Conqueror. Must have been the players that were lagging, because the whole thing seems to be quite laggy. I don't know if it's me. Here we go. So they must have just been the players lagging as the game started. So both of them going for very aggressive town centers. And like I said, Conqueror leads the series 1-0 over Ezad. So Ezad, Indian blue player, Russian red player is Conqueror. Ezad getting these easy treasures from the center of the map. Perk of India is that the 2. You've got with 2 heroes. You've got very good coverage of the map to grab all the easier treasures in particular. There's a lot of free 20 gold for Ezad, up to 80 already. So Ezad trying to cram out the villagers. It's hard getting the wood too at this stage, but he's getting civil servants too to increase gathering for everything. Really flexible technology, even though it doesn't give you the percentage. Actually, no, I think it does give you the percentage of the others, but it's just a bit more expensive. Meanwhile, Conqueror on his Russians now, going for another very rush-oriented civ. Russian on Russians. Who could have thought it? Wonder if we'll see either player go for the water at all, but I don't know if the game's even going to go on that long, considering it's on Cascade range. Yeah, it is such a pretty game. Look at these trees, man. So, Virginanda Ezad. What's that named after? I'll have to find out. I read it out of instinct, thinking it was just like a preset one, but then I saw Ezad on the end. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. Named after something. Oh, nice bit of food there for Conqueror. Makes up for the fact that Ezad's pinched all the small treasures. This one's wood. The wood ones you really want to go for because it's that much slower to gather than the food. So wood and gold actually by default do gather a little bit slower than food. If you're tuning in from the other games where that's not necessarily the case and all the resources are pretty much 1-to-1 parity. So sunflowers being taken there by Conqueror, while Ezad going to be able to grab these wood, the aspen wood, the logs. There's another standard quaking aspen that I think is going to go to Conqueror. We hasn't actually seen up there. So one treasure is going to go to waste here. Now both our players getting Ecotexo. Conqueror really has only just got hunting dogs. Ezad has got the lumber upgrade and has his first general upgrade. Another player's actually aged up at this stage. Both just racing out the villages they need. But they're going to be looking at aging up very soon. Both on about 600 food. It's got a lot of villagers making this. Does that actually make it faster? It must do.
Hello.
I've always been told not to use that many villagers on the Asian buildings. Only use 1 or 2. So it's interesting seeing Ezad go all the way up to 8. In fact, even trickling out the villagers from the town centre onto it. So, some free sepoys for Ezad. He's not going to train any infantry just yet. But there is a forward blockhouse there, so he's going to have to deal with a rush from Conqueror eventually, I think, when he gets the food. Second blockhouse. He's getting gold for something though. I mean, he wants to age up as well too, I guess. So Ezad adding some sepoys now. So we got some muskets for Conqueror. Must be a way to disable that sound. I don't mind if it's me playing it because I don't notice it, but when I'm casting it's a pain in the ass. These sepoys are going to get caught. One of them might actually fall here. There's some more coming across to try and deal with this. So one of them does fall. First blood to Ezad. I mean, first blood to Conqueror. Ezad running with his tail between his legs. But it was a freebie, that one. Bringing his explorers across to heal. He's going to have to deal with a pretty quick push here from the Russian player who's getting a lot of muskets. Oh, and that's a very big pop there from Conqueror. He's got the Cossacks and militiamen perfectly timed to try and wear down this fort ASAP. Well, there's minimal units here for Ezad, who's only just now started adding a couple of Gurkhas and add a couple more. Try and snipe units as best he can through this fight, while the fort just acts as a big meat shield, big tank that also slowly tries to whittle down some of the units. So big push here from Conqueror. But Ezad has actually got access to another set of militiamen as his Ottoman ally here. So he may be able to make great use of that. And a shipment of sepoys to deal with the Cossacks. There is going to be more muskets. Oh, another shipment of Cossacks. This time 4 of them rather than 5 out of the first shipment. See, even I know that. I've played a little bit of Russian. Well, these irregulars going to fall pretty quickly. Conqueror doing a good job at pushing forward with these units. Now he's really chasing Ezad around his base, continuing to try and siege the Agra, but he doesn't really have the units to stick around here. He's going to lose a lot of those muskets for free, and these ones up here as well are ultimately going to fall to the militiamen, I think. There's a lot of XP going Ezad's way now. So while there's been a lot of pressure from Conqueror, who's up by 5 villages, Ezad's got a big XP boost over his opponent throughout this fight. Like, with the amount of muskets that have been killed. The fort's still standing. About half health too. So Strelet transition here from Conqueror. It's probably going to make mostly Strelets and then just maybe add in more muskets as he feel he needs. Oh, actually. Ottoman Hussars. I don't even know how to say that. Yukieti would be able to say it. I'll ask him one day. Anyway. Ezad really stabilizing things now. He was quite significantly behind on score and army size. Now things are looking great for him, and he's really only... Oh, he's down 10 vills. I think Conqueror might have shipped a vill card behind all this pushing. Conqueror looking great at the moment. Oh, that's right, he's Russian, so I think the 3 villages train slightly faster than 3 regular villages. Slightly. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. My game knowledge isn't all that great for this one. But this one's going to be a longer one, it seems. And neither player having gone for a particularly quick fortress age, so they're going to have to put in a bit of work to get their spending on their chests, their large chests of gold, to try and get there. The beauty is the Indian player is going to get a villager when it gets here. Ezad denying the wall, but he's taken a bit of a beating on these hussars to be able to get the kill. And you can always just take a couple more villages from your opponent for it to go up anyway. But Ezad also looking to wall up. Conqueror finished his. So this place might even look at going on the water now that it is going towards a longer game. Because I mean, come late game, European civs have that stupid bombard cannon ship, and fishing in general is nice because particularly if you're still training villages and you get the docks, you can train economic units in parallel with your town center ones out of a cheaper building to make than another town center. So even if you are going to the next stage, it's easier to go for the dock than to go for another town center. And it's pretty much a universal across the Age of Empires games. You can take the water and do it, but when there's a lot of pressure on, and sometimes if you want to end the game right here, right now, it may not be worth it. So Ezad snuck in his fortress. Meanwhile, Conqueror gonna stick with a commerce push, a second one. First one didn't work out so well, but we'll see how we go. And this time he's got a lot more units to try and bring down this aggro fort really quickly. So Ezad's even got some units garrisoned here, ready to spring them out as soon as the rest of this army gets close enough. But Conqueror looks to be bringing the aggro fort really low. He is bleeding a few units while this is going on. And now he's going to stop and take a fight because Ezad is ready to intercept. And ooh, there are some Mahouts in the mix of the army right on top of the Strelets. So that's great for Ezad, not so great for Conqueror. And I think this push is going to be denied a little bit. Similar fashion to the last one. Oh, that Mahout even going to get away from the muskets, who in melee are going to be able to fight reasonably well with it, other than the fact that there's a nice backline of Gurkhas to pick them off. So things have really shifted towards Ezad's way now. While Conqueror can't quite afford to go to his Fortress Age. So Ezad really stabilising and defending in a fashion he didn't manage to last game. He's held on to that second town centre, and this fort has been indispensable, generating a lot of value. Now it's even going to possibly pick off some of these villages. Ooh. So now the town centre of Conqueror faces a bit of a threat. There is some blockhouses here to support it though, so Ezad needs to be careful at the angle he takes this. But he has got some siege elephants in the mix. Very useful for him to have at this point, to be able to try and siege down the buildings. But this Russian army is just impeccable macro here from Conqueror, fielding so many units with the Russians. Be able to absolutely flood his opponent. This string of units, even though he's taken a couple of bad fights already, he can still afford to keep on pushing. It's relentless. And he may just have enough to really punish Ezad now. He's now going to have to rely on getting some well-timed units out here to win this fight. Because that Russian army is looking really scary right now. Both players are pretty neck and neck in terms of population though. And the Strelets are just quick to get out of there now that there's Mahouts with their wide area damage. So I mean, if you can fight individual of them and surround them with muskets or even a pair of them, it's not so bad. But when there's like 3 or 4 of them and you've got Strelets mostly, oh, GG. So Ezad takes it to game number 3, guys. So we'll have to go and check that one out.